Tap the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss out on unique stories from 101 India.
It could be parading through the country's biggest transgender festival in the heat of Tamil summer, or climbing on top an elephant for Kerala's biggest elephant festival, Thrissur Pooram. Or even scarier, attempting to climb a 7,000 virgin mountain across the Himalayas.
My name's Rosh, and this is my epic adventure.
The first one had to be special and dramatic. I got invited to a mountaineering film festival and was instantly fascinated by the sport. The head of this seasoned climbing squad was Divyesh Muni, CA by day, mountain climbing pro by night. For his age and unassuming persona, one could not tell that he and his crew had climbed 80 mountains between them. You just couldn't tell. Quickly, my piquing curiosity convinced them to take a chance on me, and boom, they invited me on their next 45-day expedition to climb the colossal Shahi Kangri in Ladakh, a few hours from Leh city. This mountain was no cakewalk. I didn't know what it entailed or what it didn't, but I was down for the ride. Or so I thought. The crew also had Vinita, Divyesh's wife, Rajesh, their close friend, and Dinesh, who was back on the team for this one after a ligament surgery. When I hopped over to watch them packing, it became quite clear that this was a serious affair. All the food that had been packed was dehydrated for high altitudes. Everything was foreign to me, from gear to terminology to the mediums of even climbing. This was going to be no walk in the park. So after a night of packing, we were all stacked up and ready to go. We flew to Jammu so that we could spend 3 days driving to Leh, of course, so we could slowly acclimatize, instead of just landing in Leh and then having to spend some days doing the same. Why not enjoy the drive too, eh? Every day was a 15-hour drive through pine tree centers sometimes, and open skies and stunning plains at others. This was the first time in years I was going to nature for an indefinite period of time. We were getting further and further away from civilization and closer to the heart of nature. The drive from Srinagar to Sonmarg was exhilarating, but moving into freezing temperatures was crazy. We just got to our destination, Sonmarg, at 10 o'clock at night.
क्या हो गया? कुल्फी जम गई? Icicle हो गया?
Popsicle.
After 17 hours of drive tonight, yes, I would love to.
As we moved forward on drive day 2, we approached the infamous Zojila Pass, one of the most dangerous passes in the world, the vital link between Kashmir and Ladakh. 2 busy lanes on these precarious edges were nerve-wracking. A few hours later, we reached the other side and flung snow at each other for a while before continuing our journey on this very slippery, unpredictable terrain.
पूछूं जरा पता मैं उसका मिलता कहाँ सुकून कल जहाँ पे दुनिया हारा आज जीत जुनून.
As we passed through the gorgeous Mulbeck, we stopped by the camp. Rajesh would constantly keep me up to date with trivia, locations, and other information, what to expect going forward, and really looking out for me. I had connected with the crew so much by now. Vinita and me would chant together for the success of the expedition.
कल वहाँ पे दुनिया बोली सब है फिजूल आज मैं भी हूँ वो भी है जीत है जुनून
Fantastic, man. Woo! It's amazing, man. I've never been to this side of India in my life. Finally, we reached Leh, got into our hotel and laid back. And we tried getting used to no oxygen, so lots of free time while we rest before we got going again.
Fast life. Fuck, but it's tiring. Fast life, but man, the view from here is insanely epic.
I successfully did the 3,500 meter acclimatization climb and I did real good.
The acclimatization climb has quickly turned into my first ascent, my first week.
Only Yash, the cameraman, me and Rajesh made it to the top of the test climb, which made me feel really proud. But then again, I did have age on my side. All the other climbers were well into their 40s and 50s. Even then, I became a little on edge when I realized that my official permissions had not come through from the Defense Ministry. Because this mountain was on the Chinese border, we needed permissions from the Defense Ministry. This was the larger issue at hand. Meanwhile, we broke the rule and drank vodka one chilly night, which was actually a staged chugging competition with the hope that I would lose and have to run a few rounds in my boxers in the freezing cold in front of the camera. Suckers thought they could get me. I almost won, but then I lost. But thank God I can run, so Vasu didn't have shit on me. It's a good thing that I was the one who had to get naked, because if it was Vasu, all of you would have been blinded for life. You can't unsee that. You're welcome. As we started driving to Darbok, we got a call that the film crew and me had not got the permissions, so I would not be able to join them. This meant that the whole plan needed to be redrawn. Oh well, such is life. It is what it is. So after a final goodbye lunch on the highway, I bid farewell to this incredible crew and I wished them best of luck. I secretly did wish that I could have jumped in one of the suitcases, but it was out of the question. So now the climbers would also have to film their own journey and climb, as if climbing the mountain wasn't tough enough that they now had to film their climb themselves. Since I couldn't go along, I decided to explore areas around Leh city and the food, culture, people, do what I do best. I wasn't disappointed. The monasteries were stunning, and the lamas had stories for days, with wisdom married to foresight. Now that's a lethal combo. The local food and bars had an old-school hint to them, with the distinct local brewed alcohol chung. The brothy soups and Ladakhi momos, however, were so good, I might have racked up a hefty bill in the company's name.
It's really delicious. It reminds me of what my granny used to make. It's phenomenal. I'll definitely rate it down 10. I could get used to eating this every day.
On another tangent, I decided to take Vasu and go to the famous Dar village, where it is rumored that European women would come to get knocked up by the so-called Aryans. They were believed to be descendants of Alexander the Great himself, and therefore classified as pure-blood Aryans. So Vasu and me hopped on the motorcycle and rode 5 hours to get the real scoop. Was it real? Was it not? Now this is believed to have started many decades ago. So we met the locals, sat down, and got some info to write home about. But unfortunately, we didn't get what we thought we would get. They seemed to be protecting their intel fiercely. Or maybe it seriously did not happen at all. Well, conclusions aren't really good for mysteries, so we decided to keep it enigmatic after all and go back to Leh for some revelry. After returning to Mumbai, when I finally did meet Divyesh and the squad again, after hearing their stories, I felt somewhat unhappy that I couldn't in fact join them on the climb. But their climb sounded ultra dangerous and far from smooth. They suffered change in schedules, deterioration in health, and great obstacles on the path. And finally, they decided to turn back and not hit the summit, considering the pros and the cons. Well, you see, mountaineering is sometimes walking the thin line between bravado and practicality, also known as staying alive. I wondered to myself, would I have been a liability? Or would I have been an asset on this climb? Well, I guess we'll never know. Next up, I rolled through Kuvagam in Tamil Nadu to engage with India's largest transgender festival, which was a ride. It was such an incredible experience. The things I learned, the people I met, the stories we spun to get through gates, and literal storms we weathered. Okay, I love you. This massive storm on its way here, it's pretty chaotic, and we need to save our equipment and our cameras, so we need to run to the car and bounce. But what movies were made of? No joke. I just got a that's my eyes and mouth. Then Thrissur Pooram was an absolute ride, with me bang in the middle of a Kerala festival, stunning umbrella design held on top of elephants by their mahouts, which is by their caretakers. Absolutely wild. The time has come to take my epic adventure to the next level and shift gears. I'm super stoked and ready to go on wilder, more adrenaline-filled adventures, permeating through cities, cultures, and peoples. Please write in with which journey or experience you'd like to see and who'd like to come along. Have killed this shit. Until next time, folks, stay out of trouble, don't get naughty, don't get caught. Peace.